Say what you want to say about Miss Phaedra Parks because I personally don't like her, but I'm enjoying her on this show and I find myself being torn because how do we go from me not standing her because of the stuff that she did to Candy to me sitting here laughing at her because she is good TV and she is really fitting in well with this cast. So we begin the episode seeing Phaedra arriving to Quad's house where Heavenly is later going to join them. Before she gets there, Quad talks to Phaedra about how one of the things that she did appreciate at the bachelorette party was how out of everyone Heavenly seemed the most excited to see her and how warm she was towards her. But she said that she does have a problem with how close Heavenly has gotten to Tisha. I don't quite understand why it's okay for Heavenly, not okay, why it's okay for Phaedra to do this, but it's not okay for Heavenly to do it. Because what's the difference? Because Phaedra does things with Tisha as well. So is it because Heavenly sent that picture to her, or is it because she just sees something else there when it comes to Heavenly and her dynamic? Does she feel like she's closer to Heavenly than she is to Phaedra? I don't get it. Or maybe she's not as upset about it because she met Phaedra through Dr. G. I don't know. So Heavenly arrives. They talk about her fashions. She gets getting complimented on it by Phaedra. So Phaedra is really liking her outfit. They then discuss the wedding that at this point happened 3 days ago. We hear from Phaedra about the wrinkled drapes. Bravo shows us the wrinkled drapes. That would have not been okay if it was me, because it was bad. We then hear about the half-dead flowers. We see Phaedra talking about the half-dead flowers because Quad wanted to know like how everything went and how everything was. If they had any ice sculptures, anything like that. It was basically a time for them to be a little shady. She talked about how Phaedra said it was like one of the shortest weddings that she's been to. She doesn't even know if it was 25 minutes long, that they didn't have singing or any of that other stuff. They just got to the point. Heavenly said that she wouldn't know because when she got there, she was scratched off the list. Her invite was taken back. So she missed most of the ceremony. We then hear Quad saying how even though she's not bothered by the relationship that Tisha has with the ladies, she is questioning Heavenly. She wants to know where her friendship stands with Heavenly. Quad said, like, we fell off, but where is the loyalty? Heavenly said, I didn't think you gave an F. She said, it wasn't malice. I have no excuse. You stepped away and I basically moved accordingly. Quad, of course, doesn't take ownership for stepping away or for what she does. She talks about how the phone works both ways and all these other things. And Heavenly says, yeah, I stopped reaching out to you, but you have to take some type of accountability in this situation. Like you have to apologize for the part that you played in it as well. Quad does eventually apologize with some coaxing from Heavenly. Heavenly says, I do feel like you should reach out to the girls because I do believe that they miss you. And Quad says, I miss them too, which I do feel like Quad may miss them to a certain extent, but I don't really know how to read Quad because sometimes I feel like Quad wants to be included and other times I feel like if she has a better crowd to hang out with, then she's not worried about the ladies. Just things that I've noticed in the past, like when she was filming the Sister Circle, she didn't see it for the group. And it might have been because of what was going on with her and her ex, but she didn't see it for them. We then have Jackie who meets up with the brat. We see that the brat's hands and feet are swollen. I'm assuming that this is from her blood pressure. She is 48 years old. Jackie talks about how great she's done, how active she's been, that there are women that are twice in their early 20s who aren't able to keep up the way that Brat is, but she would like for Brat to slow down and begin just going to work and home. She doesn't want her traveling and doing all these other things. She talks about how black women die 3 times more than other races, and the various factors between them feeling like there's an economic difference and things of that nature. It is alarming, but it is very true. We see her take the heartbeat of the baby. Brat gets emotional, and that's the end of that scene. We have Dr. Simone, who is making a photo vision board with Cecil because she wants them to look at this board when they're frustrated with each other to remember the good times. As they're getting this board together, she decides that she wants clarification on what exactly Cecil told Miles in regards to him getting an internship over the summer versus him taking additional classes. He tells her what he said, which is basically what was said the other day when we saw the episode. And she said that in the future, she would prefer that they discuss that first before Cecil talks to the boys. And to me, that sounds like common courtesy. That sounds like good parenting, that you would share that information. But we also have to remember that this is not a little boy. This young man is what, 24? Or is he 25? I think he's 24. All right. As Cecil's talking about this and Simone's saying like what she wants and what she expects, Cecil is too nonchalant about the approach that he has with the boys. And I believe that because the boys see this, that they take advantage of it. Simone wants Miles to get a job and start paying rent. And Cecil is talking about how we shouldn't be making it so hard for him. Like, what if he doesn't get a job that can pay enough for the rent? Now, these people are saying that they're going to buy their son's first place. And he's sitting here saying, what if he can't make enough for the rent? Then what you do is if he can't make enough, you have him pay a portion of it so he can learn the responsibilities, because up to this point, has he paid any bills? Cecil would get on my nerves because Cecil is very much so an enabler. And as Simone is saying this, he gets a call from Miles talking about a verification code, which proves exactly what Simone is saying. We see Phaedra. Phaedra is being her over-the-top self, driving around in a black SUV. She is in this because she is going to invite the women to an event that is about resurrection and rebirth. This is all about Quad, which I had a film before they even said it. We see Phaedra's butler dressed in all black and assisting her with handing out these invitations. He has a briefcase and all this other stuff. He walks up to each door, opens up the case, and when I saw them pull out the church fan, I busted out laughing because you have this whole getup for a church fan. On the church fan is the invite. I hate that I'm enjoying Phaedra so much, but when she was sitting in there all dressed up in black with her glasses and the glove on the one hand and all of this stuff, I said, this girl is so extra, but it's making good TV. We then see Toya, who is going to do an Ivy party to give Tisha and Simone, because that's the only people that she invited over, a boost. Tisha arrives and she's talking about how great the honeymoon was, but how tired she was and how it took 3 days for them to even have sex because she kept spotting and having her period. Toya said they did it the day after, and Simone said that they took a nap, and as soon as they got there, they got it in that they had a great sex life. And Simone said when she was a newlywed, she treated it like it was a job. Simone then goes into doctor mode and says that it's not normal for Tisha's body to be having these type of irregular periods, and that her health needs to be number one because a regular cycle is not normal. She says that you need to get on top of this, especially because you want to have a baby like now. I think that Tisha needs to be married for at least a year before she does that. If you're worried about his sperm, go put it to the side. If you're worried about retrieval, then go do that. But see what that man is like for a year of marriage before you rush and get pregnant for him. Just my opinion. At some point while Tisha is there, after they eat and get the IVs, we see that Tisha sees this church fan, and we find out that she was not invited to this event. that Phaedra is doing. Simone wonders if the reason why Tisha wasn't invited is because it's about Quad. Toya brings up a very good point because she said, if it's about Quad, then why would you invite me there? Now, I do not always like what Toya does and says, but in this instance, Toya was right. She made her beef with Toya about her family, and you just can't do that. So Toya has a right to be mad. They then talk about this O shot, and Toya's like, after this, can I go by Dr. Jackie's to get another O shot? And Tisha is looking at Dr. Simone, and Dr. Simone's like, if you need something like this at your young age, then that's a problem. It should be natural for you at this point. And T says, I don't need one because it's like macaroni. We then see the different ladies in their cars arriving for the event, and we see that for some reason Dr. Simone and Toya invited Tisha. Now, I think that this was kind of a production thing as well, because it seemed like there was plenty of seats at the table for Tisha to sit at the repast. So they were aware that she was coming, even though they acted like they didn't. Toya, Dr. Simone, and Tisha are in one car. Dr. Jackie, Dr. Alicia, and Dr. Heavenly are in another. Dr. Alicia, they keep throwing her in these events, but we're not seeing like her being invited. We're not seeing a lot about her. So is she just a friend of the show that you guys are trying to see how we feel about her or what? Because she's not really adding a whole bunch. So I don't get why we're seeing her. Tisha does feel like Heavenly owes her an explanation for the things that she said, and she also feels like she doesn't owe Heavenly an explanation for not inviting her to the event, and I feel like she does. I understand you didn't like what your friend told her that she said, but you could have confronted her about it once your friend told you. Dr. Alicia says, look, y'all talk about Quad a lot. These ladies talk about her a lot, but they don't talk to her, and she doesn't get it, and neither do I, but this is a show, so I'm sure it's a part of the show. We see the ladies arrive at the funeral home. Heavenly approaches T, and T wants to be no part of it. Now, Heavenly, I need you to stop being fake, because whenever you do that, we know that you're about to do some mess. I also need Tisha not to act like what Heavenly said was that bad, because Heavenly did speak straight facts. She claims that Heavenly is meddling in her relationship and in her marriage. Girl, you just got married. So how can she meddle in something that just happened? You put her in your relationship by telling her stuff about Dr. G. So if you want to be mad at somebody, be mad at yourself. Tisha is a fan of this show. We have seen over the years how Heavenly has operated. Why is she surprised? And honestly, Heavenly took it easy on her, because some of the stuff that Heavenly said in the chapel scene was a bit much. The ladies walk in, sit down, the doors open, and we see Phaedra being escorted by two gentlemen down the aisle. And we hear Heavenly's Phaedra begins as she gets to the front. We are here tonight to celebrate she is risen. She says, Tisha, you weren't invited, but since you're here, we'll celebrate the fact that you have risen too. She talks about the phoenix and how the phoenix disappears, but it comes back stronger than ever. She talks about how all the women are like phoenixes because you have doctors and dentists and tennis players. Oh, I'm sorry, tennis experts. And I'm like, who are the tennis experts? As she's talking about being stronger, whatever than ever, we see her raise her arms like this and hold them and then slowly lower them like this as the saxophone player, who did a great job, comes out, followed by two men walking in a casket. Heavenly's reaction took me out because Heavenly was like, this ain't good. You shouldn't play like that. Like, Heavenly was not feeling it. The casket opens. Heavenly stands up. Heavenly sees who it is. We go to commercial, we come back. Quad pops up in all white and says, some of you girls gave me an early death sentence, but I am rested and restored. Heavenly is in the background as she's talking. She is cracking up, and she is cracking me up while she's doing it. Toya asks if Mariah is going to come out too. Quad says that she wants to bury the pettiness, the turmoil, and all the strife amongst the group. But in order to do that, you have to talk about your faults. And I think this is where Quad messed up, because Quad has a problem with admitting the things that she did wrong. She can very easily point out what was done wrong to her, but she struggles with how she wronged others. She asks Jackie if she's ready to do all these things, and Jackie's like, ready for what? And she says, there's no strife here. She gets to Heavenly, and Heavenly says, I don't have a problem with anyone. She looks over at Sweet Tea and says, I don't know why you said you want to beat my ass. I do not think that this moment was supposed to be about Tisha. I think it was supposed to be about Quad, but Quad didn't get upset. Heavenly said, I said what I said because I was concerned about you, because I cared for you. But I'm going to have to tell you that even though you don't like what I said, I stand on what I said. Toya says, so then Heavenly, why did you come to the wedding? Heavenly points out, Toya, you even said that there were communication issues. So what's the difference? And what is the difference? I noticed Sweet Tea didn't say anything to that. She ain't look at Toya and say nothing to that, but she had a problem with Heavenly saying it. Tisha says, you said you and your husband had communication issues too, and you went upside his head with the frying pan. Now, we all know that you can say whatever you want to say, and Heavenly can say whatever she wants to say about you and yours, but you are not allowed to talk about Dr. Daddy. So we saw Heavenly say, B, little girl, don't do that. Tisha gets up, acts like she's about to fight Heavenly, knowing that somebody is going to grab her. I'm going to tell you this. If she wanted her to really fight, she would have fought her. And Heavenly looked like she was ready to fight too. But Heavenly is not going to fight either, because Heavenly has a lot more to lose than Tisha. Heavenly said, I'm a grown woman. Don't let me whip your ass like your mama should have. She said, you got daddy issues, and that's why you married to a man 5 times your age. Heavenly was digging. But there might have been a little bit of truth to this. Let's be honest. And Heavenly said what some of us are already thinking. Quad looks at Simone and says, at one point we were close. I don't know where it went wrong, but I want to know if it would be possible for us to rekindle our relationship. Simone says she wants to know if she looks at them as equals, if she feels like this is a sisterhood, or do you see yourself alone on an island? Quad says she does not see herself alone on an island. They are one. So that's squash. She then gets to Toya. As she gets to Toya, I already know that that's never going to happen. She says, I don't care anymore about what you said about me, Toya. Toya's like you shouldn't. You spoke so negatively about me and my family. Why would I let anything go? Bottom line is, you have to be careful about the things that you say, because once you put it out there, it's out there. There is no taking it back. And everyone is not going to forgive. And in this instance, I don't blame Toya, because Quad did say some pretty harsh things about not just Toya, but her husband. Phaedra said she was hoping that Quad would take this moment to apologize and humble herself, but it seems like Quad just doesn't know how to do that. We then see them go to a repast. Heavenly prays. Next thing you know, Tisha is bringing up the fact that Phaedra brought the ex-wife, Quad, to the bachelorette party. Phaedra said, I talked to Greg about it, and you told me you didn't have a problem with Quad, so that is already handled. Nothing else came of that conversation. I'm interested in why she let that go so easily. I halfway feel like Tisha isn't as mad as she's making it seem. I feel like she's doing all this because it makes her husband feel like she's sticking up for him, honestly. Simone says, we all have done some things to each other. Is there any way that this could be fixed? Toya says, I need Quad to stop being so malicious when it comes to my family, which is beyond fair. Because in that moment, Toya didn't say there's never any way to fix this, which I thought she would have said. But she said, I need her to stop being malicious when it comes to my family. And that is beyond fair. Phaedra says, when someone says malicious, I get it. So, Quad, will you admit that you said some things about her family? And Quad plays stupid and says, what did I say? Toya gets visibly upset and says, you said we were thieves, Quad. You said we were thieves, Quad. Then she said, you went even lower and you said I cheated with someone in the neighborhood. Did you want me to get a divorce? Did you want to ruin my marriage? I wish that Quad apologized to Toya and to Eugene. She needs to put her pride aside and admit that she did some wrong things, because she's sitting here acting like she doesn't recall saying those things. Quad, go back like the rest of us and watch it and see how you said certain things and how you reacted, because you did say what Toya's saying that you said. Rather than Quad owning it, Quad then talks about what was done to her. Toya says she likes to act like she wants us to stay beneath her, like everybody needs to be beneath her. Quad says, we all at this table have busted our asses to get here. Heavenly says, well, all of us but Tisha, and everybody but Tisha laughs. And then we see Tisha make they end with a laugh, and Simone says they need to go ahead and go, but they need to have more talks about this, and it needs to involve true honesty. Quad says, yeah, because there are some things I want to say about how I've been treated. And Jackie, as soon as she hears that, is over it. And Jackie does not think this went as well as Quad thinks it does. Here are my thoughts. My thoughts are, Quad, if you really want to be a part of this group, you're going to have to own your mess, especially since Tisha is there. Bravo has already shown to me that they're willing to write you out, so you can't continue to be the diva that you are. I think that you're dope in a lot of ways, but this is not a good look, and you have to own your crap. The only way that this is going to work is if you own your mess, and hopefully she will. If there's anything that I did not mention, please put it down below. Let me know what you think. Please like the video. I'm trying to get to 1,000 subscribers. I'm starting to creep my way up in numbers slowly but surely. Your comments, your likes, your shares, all of this helps my channel expand. So I want to thank you in advance for the time that you spent listening to me, because you didn't have to be here. There are plenty other content creators. Until next time.